Hello, everyone, and welcome to EA Live. I am Pablo Gonzalez Day. Like always, your host here. I'm a Webflow developer at Edgar Allan. And today we have a great conversation that I've been looking forward to for a while now. We've scheduled this like 3 weeks ago. It was a long ways coming, so I had everything planned, and I was really expecting this one because we're talking with Marius Jurtz about rebranding an enterprise website with Webflow, essentially rebuilding from scratch a website that already exists and then publishing it with a new brand with no downtime, essentially, right? How do you flip the switch from a website that is in Webflow, functioning, already there, and you need to have a new version because your enterprise rebranded? How do you do that as smoothly as possible? Again, it's a super interesting conversation. We're going to dive really deep into Webflow development in this conversation, CMS, how to transition CMS, how to make sure you're not breaking your SEO, how to make sure you're doing great accessibility in the process, but also having that flip of the switch moment. Because you want to have a huge marketing push, so not have anything leak beforehand. A super challenging scenario, which I don't think a lot of Webflow developers face very often. So that's why I want to bring a voice here to EA Live about this topic from someone that has recently done it. I'm not exactly sure when was, I think it was late last year, so a couple of months ago that Mural had their entire rebrand. So we'll ask Marius specifically about those times and how that went, how fast the project had to be done, and what were the most complicated technical challenges that he had to deal with. Again, super excited about this conversation. And without further ado, I will add Marius to the stream here, and I'll let him talk about this in depth. Hi, Marius. Welcome to the stream.
Hey Pablo, so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the introduction. I'm Marius Jurtz. I'm from Germany, Eastern Germany, Dresden, beautiful city. And today we are going to talk about how we at Mural transitioned to a new website. So I'm the web design lead here at Mural. We are a small web team, but we're having a lot of fun with Webflow and the whole stuff,
Yeah, of course. And just curious, just for everyone here, because we know each other. I have worked at Mural before I actually left Mural, and you essentially took my job now. And so we have some history together. I know who you are, but briefly, can you kind of talk through who you are, where did you start it, how long have you been doing this, and how you ended up here at Mural?
Yeah, so it starts 20 years ago when my band needed a website, and I don't know, I didn't know how to code HTML, CSS, all that kind of stuff. So I learned with selfhtml.org and
What's the name of the band? Can we see that website?
I searched for it, but unfortunately it got lost in the time swirl. I don't know where it is, but maybe at some point I have maybe go to my parents' house and search on old computers if maybe there's something I could find. So yeah, and I just learned HTML, CSS, and I built a website. It was orange with green Comic Sans font. So I was 15 or so excuse that might be the excuse. And I built it with frame sets and all that weird stuff, not very functional, not very great, but it started my journey. And then I studied a bit history, art history, and I wasn't too happy about that, and I wanted to get practical, want to do some real work. And so I applied for a job in an e-commerce company, a big one here in Germany. They accepted me, and I learned 3 years there. So it's like in Germany, you have this dual system where you learn at a company, and every other week you go to the school and you have you learn stuff about print design, about web design, about everything related to design. And after that, I worked at another company, another e-commerce company, and there I started A/B tests and all that kind of stuff, heat mapping, and we really tried to, because he paid a lot of money for Google Ads, and he wanted to get the best results on his page, and that really helped me to gain a better understanding on how websites should perform. When I started, it was like, I don't know what to put on a website. I don't know new stuff about content. I just would say, welcome to my website. And then it was like, I don't know what to put there. But there I learned really what matters most to get people to act on your website, to get them to do what you want them to do. And yeah, 2015, I decided to become a freelancer. And I was like, okay, now I need a website for my business. And I played around with WordPress as usual. But I didn't like it too much because it was WordPress. The WordPress journey for me was like, because I wasn't able to code the backend PHP stuff, that wasn't a thing for me. So what I did, I would search for a template that matched my needs most, and then I tried to figure out a way to make it visual appealing to me. But that wasn't the process that I liked, so I kept searching for another tool, and I stumbled across Webflow a couple of times and was like, maybe I should try it at some point. And I gave it a shot, and I was in love instantly. So I went to the forum all the time, got to know Vincent and all the cool guys from the forum that are still around and that are still in the Webflow space. And we connected on Twitter and everywhere, basically. And 2017, Webflow introduced their Webflow Experts program, and Sergey reached out to me on a beautiful Sunday morning and was like, okay, do you want to join this Experts program? And I was like, whoa, that's huge. The Webflow co-founder reaching out to you and asking you whether you want to join. And I was like, hell yeah. So, and for a couple of years, we've been around 20, 30 people worldwide being on this program. So I never had to worry about leads during that time. Oh. It was like every day I got leads, and I could just pick the clients I wanted to work with. And it was great. I've never dreamed of working with so many clients worldwide. And then one day I got an inquiry on my website from Pablo asking me, okay, I have a project for you, but basically it's a full-time position. I was like, it's cool. I like Mural, and I knew stuff about Mural, and I knew Pablo from the Webflow space, and I was like, at least talk to him. Yeah. So, and we had a great call, talked 2 hours about football and life, and I was like, okay, then let's go to the next round. And I met the great web team, and I was with every call I got more sure I wanted to join Mural, and I did that. Long story short, and I'm still here after 18 months now, and it's great. It's the best job I've ever had. I'm very happy about it, and yeah, we recently did the rebrand project we're gonna talk about now.
Yeah. Wow, that's a nice 15 years in 5 minutes journey. For me, it's fun because I remember that conversation. I really do remember when we our first conversation. I was on another apartment, and we had booked for 30 minutes, and I think we talked for an hour and a half or so, and it was like a first date of sorts. I was nervous, and then when we ended the call, I was I went to my girlfriend. I was like, I really want him to say yes, I really felt like you were the right person, and we talked about Germany and Argentina and the World Cup 2014. So we had some things, some sore points to discuss, but at the end of the day, yeah, you said yes, and that was incredibly exciting. And I always bragged about how our team had one of the first Webflow experts. It's always been a point of pride that I got you. So yeah, and then you joined the team, and we worked together for about a year or so, I guess, or a bit more maybe. Yeah, maybe a year, a couple of months, 14 months or something, and then I moved on to Edgar Allan, and when I was leaving Mural, the rebranding process for Mural was starting up, which essentially was, Mural worked with Collins on a full rebrand of their entire not only the brand itself, but also the product. So a new product UI, and of course a new website. And you being the person in charge of the website, you had to take that challenge on. So like I said, I really want to discuss with you not the design part, because that was not really in your hands, the rebranding, but when the full rebrand suite was ready for the web, really want to talk about how you helped make that be web friendly, so look like a website, and also the technical challenge of you had a full Webflow website for Mural.co that was on Webflow, and it had been in Webflow for 3 years, and you had to essentially rebuild it from scratch. So really want to dive deep into the technical challenges and kind of discuss, how did you go through that? So before we start, can you briefly talk through the Mural's website before you had to go ahead and do the rebuild? Like how big was it? How was it ranking? How was it performing? Accessibility-wise, performance-wise. Were things loading properly? Were images and assets of massive sizes or decent sizes? Like, was the CMS a mess? Was the page structure good or not? Like, what did you have before you had to start doing the rebuild?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So luckily, and I think you were still there for that project. Right before the whole rebranding project, we had a content model or a project that we called the content model project, where we just went in and audited the whole site and rebuild it kind of step by step to make it lean and the setup, clean it up a bit and get awareness what things we got on our page, about all the interactions, all the CMS items and how we display them and how we label fields in the CMS, how we write help text for our content editors, all that kind of stuff. So that really helped to speed up the process once we started the rebranding project. But yeah, it was a huge project. It was, we had around, 50, 60 static pages, 1.5K CMS items, 40 collections, thousands of classes, because there were leftover pages that used not a proper system, and so it added up, and a lot of animations, tons of custom code, a lot of stuff that was brought in the early days, and no one was too sure if we could keep it or not, and so it would just stay on the project. And the same with content as well. So you never go in and audit it every other month. It's adding up, and we thought we anticipated the rebrand. It was at the horizon even earlier the year or even late 2021, and so we figured it would be a good first step to make this content model. So we went in, cleaned up the whole CMS, renamed all fields to have a consistent naming convention. We've written a lot of documentation in Mural to guide our editors how to use Webflow, how to prepare assets for the page. We've written a lot of Confluence documents. We had sessions where we trained them, the people that use the system every day to create new content. But also,
Can I stop you there? Because I have a sort of a controversial question to ask. Because I again, like you said, I was there when we were preparing for the upcoming rebrand, and we were doing a lot of documentation, standardizing CMS field names, help text for CMS, essentially making the website robust for content editors in the future. Writing documentation, how to write alt text, what is an open graph image, etc., and all the things. Now that you've gone through the process, my question is, for anyone out there, my question is this one right here. Does documentation matter? Did it really matter that you had that when you went ahead and did the rebuild?
So for the documentation, I would say we have to, or we had, and we still have to update a lot of the documentation because maybe assets have changed, maybe some processes have changed, but a lot of processes are still intact. And so it's very helpful to just guide people to a single source of truth, and they can just read through it. And I mean, they can still ask questions if there's something unclear, but most of the time they'll be able to just walk away with the document and self-serve, adding content to the website or adjusting content, or you name it. So I would say yes, especially on big projects, it's a huge help. It speeds up processes, and it's assuring that you get consistent results. Because if I'm out of office and I'm the only source of knowledge, then who's giving the answer? So and that will be Confluence in that case, or our big editor guide Mural. So it's pretty helpful. It wasn't necessarily helpful for the whole rebranding process, but before that and after that, while working with the page, I would say it's a huge time saver.
Yeah, and that is regarding editor work, but talking about like documentation, or maybe not documentation, but the framework, right? CSS framework. Was that having that and having developed a CSS framework for internally, was that useful to transition to a new rebuild?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had luckily the help of Riley Jones. He's a phenomenal Webflow freelancer. I think a lot of people know him that are on the stream. So and he helped us during the whole process, and he was able with our documentation. Basically, we had just one call where I would show him, okay, this is our current site, this is the new project. We want the content from A to B, make sure everything is working. And I mean, he had just little question here and there, but he just could do it. And he migrated a heck of content from one project to another, and he was a huge help. And I think it was due to our great framework that it was so easy to get him started. Yeah, he's okay. Absolutely, reach out to him if you need something, if you need Webflow help. I mean, you could reach out to Edgar Allan as well, I guess. But but yeah, he's a great guy. He's so nice to work with, and he's so reliant, and he was a huge help.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, because I sometimes, at Edgar Allan right now, we're also working on better internal processes and documentations, and so many times it can feel like wasted time, where like you're not actually doing anything, you're just writing stuff so that you don't do stuff later. And finding that hey, is this time, is this entire week I've been building like a Zapier automation and with a document and like ClickUp or Confluence, is that going to be useful? But then when you start to see it be used by people, and you're not having to answer the same question again and again, especially for larger teams, like at Edgar Allan, it's not like a massive team like Murals, but you have your internal website where you have a blog and you have a YouTube channel. Like, how do we publish stuff? How to make sure like the content is there, it's ready, that when we publish a thing, a tweet goes out and then it is published on the web. Like all those processes that are always tied to just one person knowing the entire thing.
Yeah.
As you start growing, you need to be able to, like you said, like you go out of office, you're sick for 2 days, and then, a thing has to go out, and everyone is like, oh, but Marius knows how to do it. So then you have to push the thing back because there wasn't like a Loom video from you just saying, hey, if you need to do this, just do this, and that. I really appreciate like documentation. Absolutely.
Yeah, a real life example would be we created a campaign page and we decided to reverse proxy it to our project. So it's in a different Webflow project essentially, and we are mapping it to the URL of our main site. So luckily we are enterprise partners with Webflow, so they have something in place for us, and they help us with the setup. And you wrote the documentation about it, and I've never done it before, and I was like, okay, let's do it. I grabbed the documentation, and one single important part was missing. It was like Webflow needs a heads up a week before our launch, and I was on the day of launch. I was like, okay, now we can turn it on, and they were like, okay,
man. I'm sorry.
I added that to the documentation, and Webflow, as always, was pretty helpful, and they did it.
I don't think that was I think that's an update to how they are doing it.
Maybe.
I remember when I asked Ben, it's Ben Parker, right, at Webflow. I don't know if he's still working with you guys.
Yeah.
It's like, how early do we need to let you know? And he's like, it's just a click,
Yeah.
So maybe now they've improved their system, and now it's.
So it was still a click for him, and he did it in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
But it was a bit like, the campaign has to go out. I mean, now.
I know. Yeah. Awesome. Hey, but I just realized we've been talking a lot, and we haven't shown the rebranded website.
Yeah, let's do it.
So sorry, everyone. We are 20 minutes in, and we still haven't shown the website. So I'll go ahead and share your screen, Marius, where you have the new, beautifully rebranded and rebuilt Mural website.
Yeah.
And
so
if you want to kind of talk through maybe the homepage just lightly, and what are some of the cool things you did? Especially there's something in the footer that got a lot of love on Twitter. So do you want to kind of briefly walk us through the homepage and talk about like maybe what was there before and what are some of the decisions that you made along the way?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is the welcoming screen when you get to our page, and we talked briefly about design and the way I was involved in design. So we, meaning Maddie and I, we created most of the components that I used across the site.
Who's Maddie?
Who's Maddie? Oh yeah, Maddie Chili is my partner in crime at Mural. So she's a web developer and web designer, and she was also a major, so she kept me organized during the process, and basically we talked every day, and we just we kept going together. It was a tough project. We had not a lot of time, and we pushed us to the finish line. So that was great to work with her, and we're still partnering every single day, and I'm really happy about that. She's very talented, and definitely. A huge addition to our team, and we partnered again together with Riley to make this website happen. And so we created and designed all of the components, like the buttons, like the navbar, and the homepage, because it's the biggest storefront of our website, was created in co-creation with a creative team like David Chin and Kelly Dorsey, Steve Farrell, and a lot of people just worked on that to make that happen. A lot of people from the marketing team as well. So we wanted to. It's tough if you make a rebrand. It's not like just okay, let's change the logo, the color, and we are done. Because a lot of a rebrand is how do we position ourselves? How do we speak to the people? What is the language? And with the few time we had, it was really challenging to bring not just the visuals to life, but also the messaging that would match the new tone and voice we want to go with. So it was a huge effort. In 25 days, we basically made the whole thing happen, not just the homepage. I mean, I'm talking about the whole thing. So I mean,
so did you rebuild? So did you start a new Webflow project, or did you? Okay.
Yeah. So because it was very sensitive, we have 30 plus editors on our page that they go in every single day, edit templates maybe, or adding blog posts, or working on I don't know, case studies or stuff like that, and they will publish whenever they want. So working inside of the same project that is live right now seemed very, very insecure to us. We had worries that new brand artifacts would be published, and we just wanted to avoid that. And also we took advantage of a clean, new, fresh Webflow project. I mean, the old project was around 3 or 4 years old, and a lot of leftover components and stylings and so on. And we wanted to fresh start with a new framework, with a new CSS framework, with less animations, with more structure. And that is why we started a new project. And so we had to bring over every single static page, every CMS item, and rebrand it then. So make it appear in the new look and feel. So let's start scrolling, I would say. So this is our new button. It's like when I did the button designs, I always had Josh Jacobs, also a very, very talented Webflow developer in mind. He was like, "Oh, I hate our buttons." So from the previous pre-rebrand side, he was like, "They are so boring. Let's do something fun." I was like, "This is," because he left our team. He's now a product designer at Mural. And I was like, okay, let's dedicate the buttons to Josh. And I was like, okay, let's do something fun.
I'll briefly show the previous website so that people have an image in mind. So this is close to the date before the rebrand happened. A lot of animation here. Again, the design was very Mural before the rebrand style, because you have your coral color everywhere. It's just one color that we are using all the time. So you can see it's coral, and white. So this is the former homepage right here. And you say the buttons are a bit boring because there's really nothing happening here.
Honestly, they are fine, but I agree, they are not exciting. They are just buttons.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
So when I designed the buttons, I was like, okay, let's make Josh Jacobs happy, and hopefully I did. So if you scroll, you see, okay, there's a lot of going on. We have a lot of color now. We have a different font. We have now this beautiful font called SDK Bro. It's easy to work with it. It's just plain beautiful. It's we have now illustrations. We never had those. Just supporting the messaging. And we have big bold type. We have a lot of different colors we can work with, because the brand team and Collins did a great analysis of our competitors, and they saw, okay, most people just pick one color and stick with it. And so we really saw the opportunity to be a multi-color brand and really stand out from our competitors. And also, we want to be happy at work, and colors perfect to express happiness, I would say. And basically we changed everything. In the beginning, we were like, okay, let's just reskin it. But then we recognized, okay, we have to change the structure of the page. We have to change the wording, the messaging, to really emphasize what changed for Mural with the new rebranding. And we changed from basically being a whiteboarding tool to a company that is caring about we work in the future, I would say. And now I reeled it too quickly. So this is the fun part of the homepage. So David and Kelly, they designed the homepage, and they had this big button on the bottom, and was like, okay, it's fun, it's different,
it's big.
And it's big. I was like, but we have to do something with it. It can't just be the normal rollover state the small buttons would have. And it was Thanksgiving. The US people were out. I was the only one working. And it was like, okay, let's do something with the button. And so I went ahead, and I had a brief concept in mind. and I start building. And that's the beauty of Webflow. I just started building in Webflow, just played around with it and brought it to life. So let's roll over it, and boom, yeah, there's a preview of our product, of our new product. So this is the new UI done by Totem Design. They did a great job to clean up the whole whiteboard experience. And yeah, this is, you can get a preview. My goal was to immerse people from the website to the actual product, so they could get a glimpse. And I mean, if they click on the Get Started button, they get in the product, they get what they see now. And that was my ultimate goal, because a lot of times you have, I don't know, a video or a small screenshot or something like that. And I wanted to create an experience where they could experience the actual, how it would look and feel to be in Mural with a simple rollover state. And yeah, it got a lot of love. I was in shock about, I'm a musician. I'm touring Europe a lot of times, but I get a lot of praise for a button. That's just, that's interesting.
Who cares about filling out stadiums, man? Selling out stadiums. Hey, so I was thinking, feel free to say no, but would you be open to doing sort of a very specific stream or just a video with us and how to build this? Because to me, I don't even know how you're building it. I mean, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that. So it's so simple. It's more like the idea that is strong. Building it is not that hard if you know Webflow interactions. But yeah, so definitely, can you walk you through? Do you want?
We definitely we should do a short one. That we publish on our YouTube, if you're open to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Featured Webflow build with Marius, because this is awesome. You should do a clonable also for this one.
Yeah, so there's already a clonable of this button set, but not by us. It's done by a team. I don't know if it was Flowbase or I'm not 100% sure, but they like the concept, and they made it as a clonable.
Oh, really?
Because it requires a little bit of custom code. So yeah, but I mean, if people copy a design, I'm always flattered, and it's a great thing. So we all grab things from here and there and stitch it together, and then in combination, it gets something new and fresh.
And so thanks for the homepage walkthrough. I'm curious to know, like, when you jump onto this, you talked about like what was the site before, and kind of what you were facing.
Yeah.
As you start going into the project, what are the top level, toughest technical challenges that you had to face for this project?
Yeah, so I would say CMS transition. That's probably the hardest part of it, because our CMS has a lot of connections, thousands of connections on the page, but also they are interconnected. Like I don't know, the blog collection is connected to the templates collection, is connected to solutions, to all kinds of other collections. So you have to really think about the order of uploading the content into the collections. And so you have to recreate the whole CMS. So building all the fields again, because that's you can't just export the fields you have in a collection. You have to build them by hand. So that's, just have to do it. It's not too hard. But then you have to think about, the order of importing the content again. And sometimes you have to import something, because sometimes we have a self-reference. So if you want to reference blog posts on blog posts, you have a reference field for blogs inside of a blog post. So if you upload content to that, it tries to find the blog post to map it to the reference field, but it isn't there yet. So what happens, the field stays empty. You have to download your CSV again. Then you have to get the content in again and inject it into that CSV and upload it again and overwrite everything. So basically doing that, and also sometimes there are some errors, and if you have 500, 600 blog posts, finding those errors, QAing that, being able to really reassure that, we had help from our SEO specialist, Matt, who helped us crawling the site, making sure that all links are intact and are there and so on. That was a huge help, reassuring us that thousands of pages we moved, that they are still in place. But that was the biggest challenge, I would say, and just organization. I mean, we have people from marketing, from creative team, from leadership team. We got a new leadership team during the rebranding process, a new CEO, all that kind of stuff. And to align with all the people and last minute thoughts and just organizing that whole process. And I was very happy that Cameron Masters stepped up, helped us big time, Alison Teslam. So a lot of people that actually know Asana from in and out helped us to talk to stakeholders. So we as a design and web development team could just focus on what needs to be done. That was really helpful for us.
You got some PM help versus having to deal with, because the team, sort of the rebuild team, was you, Maddie, and Riley, right? It's just three of you. And you had Riley sort of on contract, right? He's not on the team.
So he was on contract, and he jumped right in. And as I said, it was like a 1 hour session, get him on board, and he was like, okay, let's do it. And it was great.
Awesome. So CMS and organization are like the toughest challenges you had to face.
I would say, So the flipping the switch actually wasn't that hard. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I was pretty nervous because we met with around 20 people. For the US people, it was around 5, 6, and 3 p.m. depending on where they are in the US. So it was pretty early for them, and they would watch me how I make the changes. So I just detached the connection from the old project. So removed all the URLs and removed the hosting. We bought the new hosting for the new project and then rehooked it. So we've been down maybe 30 seconds at 6 a.m. in Eastern time. So I think that's fair. So
that's a record, man. That's awesome.
It was so smooth and it was great. And I was like, okay, now we are done, right? And then the whole day we got a lot of bug reports. Okay, this headline is wrong and this is wrong, and so we just basically kept cleaning up.
You stayed up late?
Yeah. It was a very long day and hundreds of small requests that just people of an org never look that deeply on their own homepage, but on such a day they do, and then they find all the things that are on the page for ages, but you have to clean them up on the rebranding day.
Okay. So was it a stressful sort of flipping the switch, or were you confident about it?
I was stressful just because I've never done it at this scale. I've done tons of rebrands, new projects for clients before, but I don't know. I never was invested that much because it wasn't my project necessarily. It was from another company, and but I just wanted to go right, and a lot of people worked on it, and it was a stressful period of time, and so it was stressful, but we were very, very happy with the result and with the feedback we got, and also internally people like it. They really the brand is really helping us to get closer, and because now we know better who we are. So
awesome, man. And for me, it's such a. I remember before leaving Mural, I was like, I was really excited about this project. At the end of the day, it worked out. I was not part of it, but I'm just so curious about, like, how do you make sure from an SEO standpoint, I know you're not the specialist and you have Matt there. How does he make sure that it's all like kind of good for Google? Is there anything specific, or is it just changing the hosting to the same domain and then it should all be good? Or were there any specific things that had to be done to ensure nothing broke on that front?
So he told us if the content and the structure mainly stays the same, we'll be fine. We know that we have to change content in some instances, and then maybe performance will drop just because it takes some time for Google to pick up on the new content. But that's by design. You can't do a rebrand without changing content and stuff. So, but especially with our blog posts, with all the case studies, with our solutions pages, the content just stayed the same and it was basically reskinned because we used the old framework we built in the content model project and used that framework, but styled it in a different way. And Google does not care on how the server IP is. It cares about the content and how it's structured. So, and that stayed the same. And so we saw no drop in performance. So actually we see now people in our org, especially our people that write blog posts are much more engaged now with the new brand and write content all the time. And yeah, so our blog is doing much better now than before the rebrand. Maybe it's due because we cleaned up a lot of stuff. So maybe we can go to a fun project on the blog. Actually, I want to show you something funny we did last week. For instance, this icebreaker. So if you have a meeting with a lot of new people you don't know yet, or even with people you know, it can be a good idea to have some icebreakers at the beginning, to just loosen the tongues a bit and get the juices flowing, you know. And we have those icebreaker blog posts, and we have a lot of traffic now with the new rebrand there. So what we did, hopefully it's there because it's an A/B test. Yeah, there it is. So if you, and that's actually built with the help of ChatGPT. We have an icebreaker generator now, where you can generate icebreaker prompts you could use in a meeting to get just the conversation started. And we are experimenting a lot now with the new page because it's so clean and we have good frameworks. We got a new web PM, and she's setting up a lot of experiments now, and we just have fun with the new page with the brand and try to do new stuff we've never done before.
And you said you're using ChatGPT for the generation of the icebreakers?
So we generated the icebreaker prompts with ChatGPT. So I don't know, around 150 icebreakers, and then I generated the code. The code, the JavaScript that handles. Okay, press the button. Do the thing and pick an icebreaker, show it to, and then with the help of some other tools, you could just copy it and start the conversation. Yeah.
I love this. My recommendation is just put it at the top of the blog post. No one posts that much.
We are experimenting with it. We track the health of the sign up button and so on. And if it's working well, we are likely going to move it up. Yeah, and maybe even have a standalone version.
And you know, for me, this is a great marketing push, but what you're missing here is just create mural with this icebreaker, you know, where you would click and you would just open a new mural with that prompt and the entire framework built.
Absolutely, I'm noting that. Next steps, maybe you want to join the mural team. Great ideas.
Oh man, I've been there too long. I still think. I sometimes still wake up and I'm like, I'm not a mural. It's weird.
Yeah.
So awesome. And so we're at like 45 minutes in. I don't want to super overextend the conversation, but I do want to ask if there's any kind of recommendations from you, a list of like 2-3 things where you're like, really do this. If you're facing a rebuild project from Webflow to Webflow, make sure you have these things ready to go before you start.
Yeah, absolutely. Make an audit. Just make a list on what you got, what collections you have, what static pages, where you can. It's the best time to clean up the project, to maybe get rid of pages, get rid of old collections you maybe created because you wanted to structure content in a way. Maybe it's just the best moment to simplify things and to strip things down to only the necessary things. So that's the first one. The next one would be plan accordingly. Just make a plan, define the goal, and then reverse engineer what it takes to get there, and try to stick to the plan, but also be willing to overthrow the plans if necessary. So have some flexibility, resilience, and actually, if it's a project that has to happen in such a short amount of time, make sure that you stay healthy and sane, and that you get out from time to time, and just stay fresh in your mind, because you want to avoid mistakes, and you don't want to mess up, and you have to have a clear mind to stay focused. And communication is always, I think it's the key in every project, in every human interaction, is communication, being very clear about what you're going to do, what you're working on, what's next, and all that kind of stuff, so that the whole team is aware how we are moving forward and stuff like that. So
So we have make an audit, communicate thoroughly with your team, make a plan, and stay healthy.
And have a great framework. Actually, I assume that is something we all know, because we all are Webflow experts here. But maybe it's not that obvious. Have a good framework that's scalable. So have a system that is easy, scalable. Yeah. I mean, you have the knockout framework at Edgar Allan. There is FinSuite client first. Whatever it is, I think picking one.
If you don't have if you don't have one that is proprietary, use one from someone that has built one already, and that's better than no framework. Like at all times. Like
you don't want to see a diff 455 in a project like this. Every single element has a class, has its purpose, and so that's maybe the most important one, actually.
Okay, have a framework, make an audit, make a plan, stay healthy, and communicate with your team. Okay, and now what about the things that you could have done better?
I mean, it's actually, I don't know, because I mentioned it a few times. The timing was rough. Maybe having more time, but I wasn't in charge of that. So we basically just battled through it, and we are cleaning up artifacts of old, from the old brand, and we are still building. And I don't see major misses. I have to say, I'm pretty happy still, and
Okay, that shows that you're a 20-year-old expert, man.
Right?
you didn't mess it up that bad. I guess, any of those recommendations, if you wouldn't have done those would be things that you should have done.
Yeah.
So I guess you were prepared for sure. And the rebrand, like, it looks beautiful, especially, for me, seeing the small little interactions, like the button that you discussed, this revealing the text, and then just the nav bar for me is beautiful. It's sort of editorial with this new typography. It's organized. I'm sure you probably saw some improvements on just people going through the site, because everything is a lot more clear, and just structurally it's so much more sound than it ever was. So congratulations on it, for sure.
Thank you.
And any closing thoughts, any parting words for everyone listening that you want to share?
Maybe don't get anxiety in your way. Every project is a bit challenging, and I think that was the most challenging project for me. But just jump right in, have fun. It's. I mean, we are building with Webflow here and having fun. It's just communicate, be honest with the people you work with, and then everything will work out. Just that. Have fun. Have more fun in life.
Yeah, I agree. That's always my recommendation. And being fun, having fun does not mean for me that you're being lazy or not doing a great job.
Not at all.
For me, that's such a key thing that we are still learning as a society, but I think we're getting better. Where like you can actually, your job can be something that you enjoy, and of course there'll be tough times. You're not always going to be laughing and jumping around, but having an icebreaker at the beginning of a call to just kind of chill out a bit before you go into the business, taking things a bit less seriously, I think allows you to think more clearly and do better work. Yeah. Marius, thanks for kind of sharing your journey. Again, we'll be uploading this straight to YouTube and probably clipping out some parts for our new TikTok account that we have for Edgar Allan. So there some parts of this conversation are going to be around, and if anyone has any questions wherever you're listening, just drop them in the comments and let us know if you want to hear anything else from Marius, and I'm sure he'll be happy to hop on again. And with that, Marius, I think we're good to end the call.
Thanks so much. Have a good one. Was fun. Talk to you as always.
Talk later.
Bye. Bye.